What's up, y'all? Eric here. And for those of you that it's your first time watching, I I'm a fitness coach, just trying to help others, kind of with physique, obviously, but mostly mindset. So I'm here to talk about today about why you got to start thinking about your future. Okay, and this is me talking to kind of like the 20-year-old me when I just entered my 20s, right? And I use that as an excuse for self discovery. I was trying to find myself. I'm Vietnamese American, and with that intersectionality, right? You feel lost. You don't feel American, but you also don't feel Vietnamese. And not being able to speak Vietnamese very well, there was an identity conflict that I struggled with throughout my whole entire life. And I've come to accept that. I've come to forgive myself for all like the things it has caused, for who I was, the old me. I hid through video games. I just kind of distracted myself with pleasures. I wasn't chasing purpose. I had no ambition. And if you're 20 or over, like, this is where you have the most energy to take risks, to try new things, but to not use it as a way, as a pseudo productive way, right? You stop like saying partying or going on dates and like just hooking up with every girl that you know as you're finding yourself. You're really enjoying yourself, and if that's you, that's cool. But if you know deep down inside that you're meant for more, like how I was, that's when you got to take the steps towards that path. You got to carve your own path, and I went through that. I didn't have anybody to help me out. I had no role model to kind of guide me there. I had to figure it out by myself. I only used my inner moral compass, and I kind of followed that, but I kept getting off track and getting back on, right? I grew up being a skinny, awkward Asian guy, who didn't know how to interact with people, who didn't know how to talk to girls. I have a partner now, and I'm grateful for her. It's just like growing up, I struggled with that because I stayed indoors, just video games, anime, kind of fantasizing in my head of these things, like thinking of the perfect scenario in my head instead of actually experiencing life for what it is, right? And so that stunted my personal development significantly until I decided to say I was sick of tired of being sick of tired. And then I improved my physique because I played basketball. I loved the gym. I come to love the gym. I wanted to change my body. I had a problem with it. And I was insecure about my body because I was so skinny. I didn't want to take my shirt off. And all these things, right? Long ramble. But the point is, this is why you gotta use, we're a lot of like older adults say that we're in a time where we can take advantage of it the most. We have the most energy. We have the most drive and ambition as men, right? We're starting to become young, developed men. And now, like, when we're in our 20s, our brain is starting to develop a little more. We're becoming less immature. Like, we're starting to cringe at the stuff we used to do. Now, the most important point is you're still cringe, you're still immature right now. That's what you got to realize. The more that I know, the more that I grow up and experience, I realize like the past me, I always cringe at because I'm always learning. I'm always like maturing mentally, right? I think you guys need to do the same thing. There has to be a sense of urgency because, how are you going to continue to look at yourself right now if you're skinny, right? Like how I was. And you look at yourself in the mirror and you take a good hard look, right? Be honest. Let's think about it right now. Go ahead and look at that mirror and tell yourself, are you truly happy in the position that you are right now? And if you truly are, click off this video. But if you still stayed and there's still a little hesitation of I could do more, there you have it. That is your why. That is what you need to push towards. That's your subconscious, your moral compass telling you to do these things, to chase purpose over pleasure. Because when you chase purpose, when you know you're on the right path, you're sticking to your word, you're going to the gym consistently, you're doing the things that you said you would do, and you actually followed through, and you don't hang out with your friends as much because your goals are more important. Your self development, because you're doing it for yourself. You love yourself, right? And those things all align. In the end, you feel deeply fulfilled. You feel deeply joyful, right? Because you know this is a purpose for you. You're fulfilling your purpose. In turn, it gives you pleasure. If it's the opposite, you're chasing pleasure, you're smoking weed, you're partying, you're going to EDMs, you're raving, right? You're using that as a way to fulfill your life. In the end, you're going to feel, at the end of the night, you're going to feel empty because those aren't really your friends. And if they truly are, then, good for you. But like, most of you guys, I know that you're using these things to distract you. You're hitting these vapes, you're hitting these pens, right? You're not solving your anxiety deep in your mental. You're using distractions, right? Think about your future, right? How are you gonna look like in your 30s? You're gonna experience all this in your 20s, right? Like, I'm not saying that I'm not perfect either, but I'm not saying that you gotta be locked in from 20 to 30. Like, I can still have fun, but most of what I'm doing is setting myself up for the future, and I'm working hard now for the next 5 years, so that hopefully by the time I get to 20, I'm 23 right now, hopefully when I get to 27, 28, I'll be set for life. Because I truly believe that in my head, right? So you gotta think about it. Set yourself up for the future. How are you gonna do that starting right now? Because you're still young. You're in your 20-something. And if you're using this time to, again, distract yourself, to have fun, yeah, go ahead, blow your money, live paycheck to paycheck. We're all gonna live paycheck to paycheck, right? Temporarily. Like, I'm assuming most of us are working class. We're just having a part-time job. We don't have a full-time job yet, right? We gotta figure this out. And it's not even just that. Think about, like, if you're an Asian guy and you have immigrant parents, think about your parents. Like, they're working their ass off for you. Like, that doesn't, like, excuse the fact, like, oh, they came to this country for us to live better lives. So you're gonna take that, you're gonna be entitled, you're gonna feel entitled to use that as an excuse to say, hey, I can relax because of my parents? How selfish are you? How fucking selfish are you, right? Why don't you work hard and give back to them and try to give back to them, even though you fail to struggle to see their perspective sometimes? And that's just the way they grew up, right? I forgave my parents. I really hated my parents growing up because I didn't understand them. I wondered why they were so emotionally neglectful. But that's just the way they grew up. They grew up on survival. But we don't have to grow up on survival, but we have the choice to help them and be empathetic and practice sympathy, right? Be emotionally intelligent. So why not do that? Why not follow through with that, right? We all have callings. We all have individual callings. The universe gives us a role that we need to do, right? Whether you want to believe it, right? You just have to find your calling, your ikigai. And I encourage you, this video is to encourage you guys to push yourselves towards a little closer. If I can move the needle just a little bit in your life, to start considering that. I want to plant that seed inside your head, to start thinking about it. And then over time, it gets even more powerful and it sprouts. And then you actually start taking action. That is the goal of this video that I'm making. And I truly hope that you guys take this to heart. Even if some parts that you agree with, not the full message. I don't care if you really have to agree or not. I just want to help somebody. But yeah, that's about it. Start thinking about your future. What is it going to hold? Where do you see yourself in the next 3 to 5 years? Like a job interview, but for your life. Forever, honestly. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years? For me, I want to be able to build a business with this mindset and coaching thing, and I actually want to elevate my coaching, my knowledge for personal training, strength and conditioning, right? I don't know, physical therapy in the future. But also, I want to be a strong masculine role model for my family, my friends, my lover, and not just the fact that I'm insecure about myself. It's just I'm a man. I gotta portray masculine traits, whether you like it or not. I don't care. We have to be able to provide. We have to be strong. We have to stay humble but dangerous. We got to be able to how to defend ourselves, defend others, defend our tribe, our village, our community. Stand up for others. Help the helpless. Right? But that's about it. See you guys on the next one. Peace.